All righty.
Gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. Ignacio is running a little bit behind. He was, doing an event over at the Jupiter Valley uh, Flying J, and they're still doing some cleanup over there. So it's helping out with that. And then Mike is just joining us. Let's get him up on the stage. There we go. All right. And tonight we are going to cover the struggles of the industry, give a little bit of education and, talk about what owner operators, independents go through, um, so forth. Uh, Here, real quick, I'm going to actually play a video once I get it pulled up here. Man, is it? Already uploaded it.
It's hard through the day and the night. Peterbilt rolling with on black smoke here. Stack shoot flames at a whole goddamn. Chrome grip gleam with the hard out brick. When that beat pull up, whole road, get lit. Peterbilt rolling, y'all on that lane.
Returning to route. Returning to route. Recalculating route. Returning to route.
So that was a feed off of my dash camera last week. And as you could see, the cattle driver, was merging over, hit my mirror, tore it completely off, put a big old hole in the hood, caused quite a bit of damage, tore off my headlight completely off. And this is the type of things that carriers have to go through, owner operators, independents, and it creates downtime. It creates a lot of friction in the industry. The driver did pull over, stopped at a truck stop, and we got it reported and everything. So that's the good side of it. You guys got anything to add in?
Yeah, I mean, you can see in the video, you were in a construction lane. You were probably going the maximum speed trying to pass him, and he discourteously was not going to allow that. So, the livestock hauler is evidently in the wrong. I mean, it's pretty apparent in that. Judging by the speed which he got up to then pass you, on the right side when you were already trying to pass him, was definitely uncalled for. How was it difficult to get him to own up to his mistake?
Yeah. I mean, he was trying to deny it. When we got to the truck stop and I walked up to him, I asked him, what that was all about. And he tried to say that I came over into his lane, and I'm like, dude, I got you on the dash cam.
Yeah. And, as much as there's things that we battle against about technology in this industry, having that dash cam to cover your butt and work for your benefit is exactly, just like in scenarios like this, why it's very important. Because had Chris not had that on our truck that him and I team drive, that happened to him while I was on home time and Chris was running a load out to Georgia. Had he not had that, it could have been anybody's say, and they might have both been placed at fault. But, there is a good side to having some technology to cover your ass in instances like this. But look at it on the other side of it. How more downtime is this going to end up creating for us, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to cost us in downtime probably, you know, up to $5,000, all the way up to like anywhere between 5 to 10 grand that we're going to lose in revenue.
Yep.
Luckily, I did have the dash cam, so the front facing dash cam, and I'm not opposed to having the dash cams that's front facing because it saves your ass.
Yep.
It will save your ass as a
So,
company driver.
right.
It'll save your ass because they don't need these inward facing cameras, because the front facing, you could tell what the driver is actually doing just by
Yeah.
the front facing camera.
Yeah,
So
it can be pretty easy to tell if somebody's distracted, they're drifting in and out of their lane or something like that. It can be pretty
yep,
evident.
exactly. And
So
so
this was the beginning of of kind of a long train of difficulties we had,
yeah,
like and then so and I'm of course I was at home, and Chris, I got a call from Ignacio. Ignacio told me, and I called Chris about the next morning and said, what happened? Because I just kind of wanted to, like, let Chris kind of simmer down and about it, and I talked to him about it in the morning. And then okay, so he gets out to Georgia. Now the truck's all messed up. He had to fork out what, like $2,800 to get the headlight fixed. In the meantime, that now we're going to have to get reimbursed for. And
and
then
the mirror.
in
Yeah,
the
it cost
mirror,
me
right? Yeah,
yeah.
right. $2,800, folks, for a mirror and a headlight unit. I mean, the astronomical prices to keep up with, the replacement of parts on these machines. So, Chris goes through that, gets the load delivered in Georgia with a messed up truck, and then talk about the complications you had getting loads coming back off the East Coast.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Let's check in
Okay.
with Mike and see what he's got to say.
Yeah.
And then I got some other stuff on this
Okay.
situation too.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mike. What you got?
Oh, not much. Just sitting here chilling, listening to you about your accident. But it's a pain in the ass, man. I had a guy pull out of a parking spot back when I was hauling cars, and the tail swing on his trailer took off my passenger side mirror and the air filter can on my Peterbilt. I chased his ass across the parking lot.
Oh yeah.
And the company was Red Phone or Red Dog. It's the one with the bulldog on the side of the truck.
Oh, Big M.
Hope to God that one of those vehicles doesn't have an accident with you and it be their fault.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to drive 280 miles out of my way to go get the truck fixed before I could go load. Then 280 miles back, and the old boy didn't want to pay me shit for downtime, my mileage to go get it, my loss of load, and I had to argue with him about paying the bill at Peterbilt. Oh, well, you can get cheaper parts. I said, no, my shit is Peterbilt. It's getting Peterbilt parts, and that's the way it's going to be.
Right.
So, it's a hassle trying to get things done out here sometimes. These companies, they, but they tear up your shit. They don't want to fix it, but you tear up their shit, and they're going to send you a bill, and that's the way it's going to be, and they're going to want you to do this and do that, yada, yada, yada. But when it comes to you, they don't give two shits about you.
Yeah, and with this actually happening, with me being loaded and on my way to Georgia, I mean, it put me a day behind as well, because it ended up costing me, 5 to 6 hours of downtime just to get everything, legally fixed and to where I could continue on the load. So, and not to mention, it's got it still has to go into the body shop as well to get the hood fixed and everything else. And trucking history is actually watching us right now. She said, "Hello, gentlemen," and had a Conestoga slap his trailer up against mine this week. He
Oh,
kept
fun.
going. He kept going. And see, that's the other side to it is, I got lucky because I think the guy and the driver was trying to take off, but he realized that he wasn't going to outrun me, that I wasn't governed like most trucks. And so he ended up pulling off. But,
Yeah,
so
but
I
that
got lucky
doesn't,
on that side. But
that part there doesn't even matter. When I was
yeah,
over at working for that company out of Phoenix, I had a guy slam on his brakes in front of me intentionally, and I run that Freightliner up his ass, and he took off.
right. Yeah, I
Dash
mean,
cam, they
we
got
could
the
have still
license
found
plate
them.
number and
Yeah,
everything, and so they can run all they want to. They're the drivers that do like shit like that are just they're ignorant. They
yep,
think that they don't realize that 90% of your trucks out here are running dash cameras. And why? Because of shit just like that. And these four-wheelers that think, oh, big accident with a big truck, I'm going to get big bucks. Go ahead and keep thinking that.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, and it's just so discourteous,
Well, that's
disingenuine.
because he's an untrained,
Yeah.
and he wants to be treated like a professional, but then he gets out here on the road and he acts like a jackass.
right. And so here's something else that I wanted to mention is, even company drivers have to go through this. I mean, whenever they get into an accident, um, it's not coming out of their pocket up front, but that's the
It's going
good
to
side
affect
of
your
it. But they
paycheck.
still have to deal with the downtime. They still have to deal with dealing with the insurance, giving their statement, all of it, just like owner operators and independents do as well. So, everybody wants to separate, owner operators, independents, and even company drivers. But really, we all, when you look at the bigger picture, we all have to follow the same regulations. We deal with the same situations. We still deal with a lot of, you know, aspects of the trucking industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Absolutely.
gotta quit dividing ourselves by doing that,
Right.
and bring out the education. That's what this platform's for, is the education side for the American Transportation Co-op.
Right. Right. Look, yeah,
So
here's a little bit more on the company side of that. Coming from somebody who is, I'm integrating from being a company guy. Chris is mentoring me in the ways of being an owner operator nowadays. And, yes, the owner operators have a big expense of this too. But now, if this were in a company setting, while your company is fixing that truck, they may not always have another truck for you to get into. So if you're not going to run miles that next week while your company's fixing that truck, you ain't got no paycheck neither. So, I mean, the lost revenue and lost income just compounds very quickly in these situations. And the downtime on top of everything just, it multiplies it.
Well, what the sad part about it is you got company drivers that won't even talk to their own company drivers. I've seen it happen a couple times. One truck back into another one at a truck stop or at a shipper receiver. they both worked for the same company, and the one dude was just sitting up there in the truck watching it happen.
Yeah, so Ignacio, welcome in. Hopefully everything went good over, with the cleanup and everything at the event. But I did play the video from the accident that I had last week. So what's your thoughts on it?
On what video?
That video of that cattle hauler hitting my truck last week.
Oh, okay. So I just jumped in. What do I think about what? About that event or our event?
Yeah, about the event or what, owner operators, company drivers go through when the accidents happen. Have
Oh,
you got any experience with it?
well, I think it's lack of accountability, lack of education, and lack of consideration for the fellow driver. I mean, if imagine if you don't have the dash cam, for what I learned, the driver was trying to blame you. So when if you didn't have the dash cam, it would have been a he said she said kind of a deal. So in those situations, I am pro dash cam. But
Yeah, the
when it
front
comes to
facing dash.
inward facing cameras, I don't agree with. So to me, not only am I glad that you had the dash cam, but I'm also glad that he got fined because he got what he deserved. So he was not only uh, negligent, but also lying. And looking at the video, just watching it, the way it unfolded, that was so wrong. That was it actually looked like it might have been intentional. That's why I asked you, was there any road rage involved? Because that to me was so immature, so bad that only a rookie would do that. So I don't know how many years the driver had behind the wheel, but that was a very, very bad mistake. If it was a mistake, that's why I asked you if there was road rage involved because that was very clear, and very, very incriminating on the guy's fault. And you know what? To be honest, I have so much respect for bull haulers to the point where, like, really, a bull hauler did that? How can that even be? So I don't know what the guy was thinking, but obviously it was very, very immature, very, very irresponsible, and to be honest, very unprofessional to the point where he was lying after being involved in an accident. So I'm glad that you had that video to educate us so we can talk about it. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I would add to that, Ignacio. I definitely, I questioned that too. The first time I saw it was, it does almost appear that he intentionally did that. Like, oh, I'm not going to let that plastic truck pass me. But he was even in the construction zone. That kind of multiplies the severity of the whole thing too.
Absolutely, it's a shame for the trucking industry. And I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go deep into it. And this right here shows you that it's not only a certain community that is driving bad out there. Not only is not that community. I'm not gonna mention races, but this is one of the reasons why we need to talk that anybody can commit a mistake, or anybody can get involved in an accident, and anybody can lie. So just to be completely transparent, this was not a Punjabi driver, okay? So I made I had events. Thank God it hasn't been my fault, but I've been in events where all kinds of races been involved in it. Other races have lied. So this is about integrity, individual accountability. So I'm glad that we're able to learn that. Look, it's not just one race. It's not one culture. Anybody can lie, and everybody can be irresponsible.
I want to elaborate on this deal as well. Is we were going through construction, and the speed limit was set at 60. That cattle hauler was actually doing about 55 to 60, and I was doing right around 60. So I went to go past him, and then as soon as he seen my truck, like we were pretty much nose to nose, and he realized that I was, passing him, that's when he sped up, and you can see it in the video. That's exactly why Ignacio thinks it was intentional. So I wanted to point that out, and then also the guy was right. Everybody that's seen that video that I shared that video with were asking if it was a Punjabi, a Russian, or a different nationality. And I said, no, it's a white guy. You can't blame the non-domiciles or a different race on this. Mistakes happen from everybody.
Hmm.
You sound too low.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't
know
know
this.
why.
Sounds very low. I think it's very important for you to repeat that.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can hear
okay.
you.
It's probably me. Carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So
So yeah, let this be a lesson. For everybody watching. Don't let your ego drive that truck, right?
yeah,
Just because you got a nice Peterbilt and you're a cattle hauler, which is, I know, hey, yeah, everybody's entitled to a certain level of pride in their work, but when your pride turns to ego because of your position or your truck or the type of freight you haul, you let that lend yourself to letting pride and ego drive that truck, and then you add road rage in there. Who's really driving that truck? Not a professional CDL holder, but you know, ego and anger are driving that truck, which does not equal a professional environment.
exactly. So anyone else got anything on that certain situation topic?
No.
Okay. So another issue that we've been ran into is being able to get loads, because I don't allow access to my ELD through highway or any other platform. I don't give brokers access to it, nothing. So, and not only that, the ELD provider that I use is Trucking Office, and they don't allow the integration at either. You can download the API link for it and integrate it, but they're not set up with highway because of that reason. They're letting the
Hmm.
drivers, the carriers actually choose
Well,
choose
yeah,
it.
those EL, that's the thing is these, it's very responsible what trucking office is doing in our scenario, Chris, because they don't want to be implicated in people's privacy and sensitive information being breached. It's a cybersecurity risk to just
Yeah,
hand off that information to some third party verification that's not even government enforcement, and it's enabling these brokers to manipulate the freight market. and they don't have to, you know.
I mean, it's not an accident that just you guys got uh, affected by this. I got affected by this, and then we found out you recognize that one driver that put a lot of content out of the same challenge that both have faced with integration, with highway, with motors, with insurance. They're all trying to manipulate us, and to be able to use our own information, use it against us. How can we weaponize this 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 private identities to use it against us? How
Right,
can that even be a good thing for us? I mean,
right,
we're overregulated, but not overregulated. We've been manipulated as well, and they're
right,
using our own weapons to use them against us. So to
right,
me, it's getting worse. So I think this is the best time to get together, accumulate facts,
right.
and build up case against them because we're tired of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just it, folks. So just so everybody's aware, we're putting together something rather involved and detailed when it comes to this issue with highway. We have been prospecting across social media platforms with everybody's different experiences with highway, and come to find out on further research and digging into these issues that people are having, like eld integration, or you know trucks that predate elds being denied loads on highway. Or we had it, a lady was telling us that her husband got sick and passed away, and so the business had to change hands, and they were denied by highway to through brokers to get loads, and they had to shut down their authority. We're just seeing all these different instances and scenarios where they are disallowing otherwise compliant carriers that are using compliant ELDs that FMCSA has on their list. So they're being compliant that way. They're being compliant with USDOT and FMCSA in every other way as a carrier, which, by the way, they also vet through their auditing. So, we're talking about carriers that are already vetted and that are compliant being denied loads because they don't want to integrate their data and or do business with a third party service that has no business in governance. I mean, we understand that fraud and double brokering are an issue in the industry, but when you're using something that is also blocking non-fraudulent carriers from getting loads, that's going backwards. That's not solving the problem. That's just creating another one for the sake of trying to solve one other one. So, it's one step forward, two steps back from the way I see it. And not to mention that, but through this research and compiling the evidence we have and other things that have to do with highway, we have found several different ways they are breaking laws by doing these things. And so the evidence is going to continue to pile up. And they're going to get what's coming to them, and everybody connected to them's got it coming too. But we're not going to back down on this instance, because Chris and we fought like hell to get. I mean, Chris fought like hell to get back off the East Coast back over to get me in Iowa, and then we fought like hell for over a day on the load boards, being denied 80% of the loads we called on because of our lack of our not integrating our ELD with highway when we don't have to. And they'll sit there and they'll lie and say, well, it's the law. No, it's not no, it's not the law. That's your company's policy because you have decided to do business with highway. That's your company's problem that you don't get to enforce like it's law. And they lie about it. So
That's why I asked this question to a retired trooper uh, from Texas because we have one come on this carrier tools application to teach us about laws and regulations. So I asked him, so what is the intention of Modus? What is the purpose of Modus? He says to avoid fraud. So how is this avoiding fraud when Modus, first of all, is a piece of junk that thousands of people couldn't use uh, and then we all had a hard time trying to join at the last minute. But not only that, how I'll give you my own example. If I'm running Rand McNally as an e-lock provider, and we know that it's a reputable device, and I haven't had any issues. I've had many of audits or inspections with it. And all of a sudden, because that device doesn't integrate with my insurance, all of a sudden, with 5 days left, I have to go find another e-log to integrate with my insurance because of the brokers. So here I am scrambling and face the issue of not having insurance to operate is affecting my business. For as far as I understand, uh, nobody can force you to buy some if everything that you're using is legal and working properly. So to me, look how far we got. And it was frustrating and mad. So I've been fighting back myself with that, and I'm not letting it go because I don't think it's right.
Yeah, and something else that I wanted to mention is Carrier Tools has an app that you can actually go on and find shops, report accidents, all of that. And I actually used it when that cattle hauler actually hit me. And you can even upload get roadside service, all of it. It's a very good app to use. Company drivers, owner operators, independents should be using that app. It's a very useful tool. What you got, Mike? Or did you have to step away?
No, I'm here.
Okay. You got anything to add in?
Yeah, all this stuff that these people want, first off is how secure is their system? What are they doing with all this information that they're gathering? They want your registration. They want a copy of your driver's license. They want access to your logs, and they want your insurance, and they want this, and they want that. Okay, so I send it to you, which I know that most load boards that you subscribe to has a spot where you can put that stuff in there so they can view it. So what do they actually need this stuff for? Are they selling this information? Are they giving it to their buddies, to run loads and steal your shit? And, what?
Yeah, they are
Why do
selling
they
it.
actually need all this? And I don't want to hear this crap. Well, it's our policy or the insurance. That's bullshit. That's just their scapegoat to get you to do what you want to do because you hear it all the time. Oh, well, our trucks are governed because of insurance. Bullshit. Your trucks aren't governed because of insurance. Your trucks are governed because untrained, unprofessional drivers that can't drive trucks that run more than a certain speed. So I'm tired of these excuses. Well, it's insurance. It's this. No, it's not.
Once you have more than 5 trucks, the insurance companies will actually put pressure onto the carrier to actually govern the truck. They don't set a limit on it, but they do want them to actually govern the trucks.
Every company that I've been leased to with my own truck, my shit ran triple digits. There was never anything said how it had to be governed. So, you know, it's
on the company side.
It's come to excuses, and people are willing to accept their excuses, and that's why stuff has gotten as far as it's gone.
Yeah, you're exactly right on that. Now, with the independents and the owner operators, the insurance companies don't push it onto them, but with the like Swift, Knight, CR England, even the mid-sized carriers that have company trucks and company drivers, they push it on them. That's what I was saying. Now, if they have owner operators that's running under them, they don't make the owner operators do that. But I mean, so with the highway deal,
Window blind down, babe.
we're putting evidence together, collecting data, actual facts. If anyone has any information on, them getting blocked from getting loads, send them over to our email that's at the bottom on the screen.
There we go. Thank
and,
you. See.
We'll get it added in, and you'll get credit for it as well.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of this
nonsense needs to stop.
Yep, and the American Transportation Co-op is putting that together right now, working with other organizations, or connections with other organizations, and connections with other drivers. We've already gotten a few responses from other drivers, reporting their issues with highway and being able to get loads and from brokerages, and yeah. Mitch, you got anything else on it?
Yeah. I mean, like Chris is saying, we're getting into a lot of stuff, and as we're researching this, we are seeing really and truly how deep the rabbit hole goes to where this information could be being sold or lent to after Highway gets a hold of it. When you look at their partners, McLeod, they are partnered with TIA, so that networks them through all the brokers, obviously. Big AI companies and autonomous companies like Aurora, even. It's like, and then on top of that, how it even further integrates, and makes connections with ATA, and the web starts getting really deep, and you start seeing how this is being used as an underlying control method to very easily and I'll say allegedly fix the freight market, control the freight market, monopolize the freight market, and help push out operators, the 86%, the small carriers in this industry. And it cannot be allowed, because it breaks racketeering laws, it breaks antitrust laws. Like Mike is saying, how much longer are we going to keep taking this shit to the point where what are we going to start fighting when there's only 10 companies to even work for anymore, because they've pushed everybody out, and now there's just 10 mega corporations in trucking? I mean, what's it all going to really come to if we don't start fighting back against these control mechanisms? And especially when these control mechanisms aren't even being done by actual governing authorities. we can't be allowing that to happen. As I said before, is fraud a problem out there? Yes, it's a problem, but it can be dealt with by the governing bodies that are charged with the duty to do it. They've got a budget. What does FMCSA get? Like $1 billion a year? Or I can't remember exactly how much money they get every year. I think one year it was like close to $1 billion in funding. Where is all that money going? What are they doing with it if they're not actually enforcing it? Because when you look at it, if they're given a budget of $1 billion, I mean, shoot, that's a lot of freaking money. That's a lot of taxpayer money going to do what? They're not making the industry any safer. They're just making it more difficult.
They use the word safety in everything they talk about, so that
Right.
ultimately makes it
Right.
safer. Come on
Right.
now.
Right. But okay, so let's talk about that. Let's get into that. The word safe. Who is controlling their narrative of safety? Well, let's look at who are the people within FMCSA and DOT. A lot of former ATA people, that's for sure. I mean, head of FMCSA right now, Derek Bars. What he was a ATA compliance officer. I mean,
He was on
what does that tell you?
Compliance board.
Compliance board. Okay, right. So yeah, he was an ATA compliance official.
Yep.
That
I mean,
doesn't mean you know anything about trucking. I mean,
right.
That's like saying the cashier at the Pilot truck stop knows about trucking because she works at the truck stop.
Right. Now let's get into the other side of things, with the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy. He actually does come from a trucking family out of Wisconsin in the logging area. So he's got a little bit more know-how, but has he ever driven the truck himself? Highly doubtable. Not from who my sources tell me. I know some fellow advocates out of Wisconsin that know him really well. He knows how to run a trucking business. He understands how that works, but he does not know how to operate one of these trucks himself or what it's like to be a small carrier fighting in the freight market. He works in a specific niche of hauling lumber.
You're taking a log truck and comparing it to a guy that hauls groceries for Walmart and Kroger's. And
right.
That's like comparing an apple to a grape.
Exactly. So, when we look at this and the people that stand in these places that are qualified or underqualified to even make these kind of calls about things, it just leads to further compounding the mess. And then let's talk about then, they want the great honor of trucking to be passed to veterans now. They want the veteran, great. Let's just disrespect them even more than they already are. Right.
We're not even going to touch that subject.
Let's leave that one be, but we'll just leave that one alone right there. Let's just say it with that. So we're really all this continues to further compound because we don't have people in control of the narrative of safety within the governing bodies that actually understand the safety operation of a truck at all.
I understand the laws and the regulations.
I got one marker with no name, and they said something. And I got another marker with they didn't say anything.
So I also want to mention, who gave the brokers the right, or even highway, to regulate the industry?
Yeah, they don't. They can't because it breaks antitrust laws.
And with them saying that they're helping fight fraud, look what they're doing. I mean, they're collecting the data, they're selling the data right on Highway's webpage. I actually have the documentation showing their privacy policy saying that they sell all of the data that they collect off of the ELDs.
Right, which is another form of fraud.
Yep. That's another form of fraud. Not only that, who's to say, a hacker's not going to get into their system and take all of that data? That creates identity theft because the carrier's information's on there, the driver's information, the social security numbers, EINs, driver's phone numbers, driver's license numbers, all of it. All of that is sensitive information and can be used for identity theft.
I mean, it's not that hard
Absolutely.
to figure out what they're doing with it because, I mean, look at all the emails you get. I got an email the other day said, "Oh, thank you for your payment of $998 through PayPal." Really? I got a PayPal account, but I haven't used that thing in like 4.5 years.
Right? And I get the same emails too.
Or how many times have you gotten a phone call wanting this and wanting that? It's and how did they get that shit? From people like them selling your information.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of gullible people out there that will get that email and they'll call these people. I didn't do that. Well, I need to verify who you are. So you'll give them all this stuff that they shouldn't be asking for in the first place to verify you, but you're going to give it to them. And then the next thing you know, 5 minutes later, you're going to go check your bank account and that $500, $1,000, $100, whatever you had in there is gone.
Not
and what
always,
can you do about it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Not always.
There is a process, but it's so fucking difficult once it happens if you don't have identity theft measures in place.
If you got a good bank, but even a bank ain't going to do anything because, you did it through PayPal or you did it through this, you did it through that. And, even the bank ain't going to do nothing about it. But, and this is an ongoing problem that nobody wants to address. They just, it's normal, we got to have this, we got to have that. And what was one of the things that you was told growing up when you got your driver's license and stuff? And it was like, don't give your driver's license number to people. Don't give your social security number to people. And what's the first thing that people ask for when you go somewhere? I need to make a copy of your driver's license. Okay. For what?
Right. How about when you go to get a job and they ask for your social security number when if you look at the old social security documents back when Social Security first started, it said it wasn't even supposed to be used as an identification card. And now it's turned into that. Why?
Yep.
Good luck getting a job without one.
And it's not just the trucking industry that's doing all this nonsense either. I mean, look at the insurance industry. How many ads have you seen? Use this app. You can get insurance. We don't ask you no personal information. You're insuring your car, not you. You go to that app, and it's no different than calling up an insurance company. What do they want? They want to know the city, the state, your age, what kind of car you drive. They want your driver's license number, your date of birth, they want all this information that has nothing to do with insuring the freaking car that I'm driving.
Yep.
It's got to be the norm for everything.
Something I want to speak on is if you get any of those emails, text messages, that has a link and you didn't do it, do not click on those links.
Exactly, because that's how they get into your stuff right there.
Exactly.
I got one the other day, and this one's funny. Can anybody tell me how many toll roads they have in the state of Arizona?
Not
Do what?
one.
None.
Not even one.
Right. My license is going to be suspended. My credit rating is going to be affected because I owe for tolls in Arizona $62.79. And then the wife's, because the car that the wife's daughter has is in my name. I got a ticket in the mail for $6.29 for parking. A parking. When have you ever heard of a parking ticket that was $6.29?
Yeah. So
It's a
Tony
scam, and a
Zarenda,
lot of people fall for it.
Tony Zarenda over on Facebook commented to remove your data from data brokers and the dark web brokers use. Go to https deleteme.com.
There we go. We'll have to look into that. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. He's also known as Roadhammer over on Facebook, TikTok, or no, he doesn't have a TikTok account anymore. He got banned from TikTok, but he's over on LinkedIn, Facebook, and I believe he still has his X account.
Yeah. If anybody wants a really good source about cybersecurity, Roadhammer is a wealth of information on that.
Yeah.
So that's that's just it. Like all this stuff leaves us wide open, and highways just going to become another source of that. And you do enough digging back, and they are very easily connected to everything the globalists are trying to do. And this further implicates into the digital ID system they want us all to be using come the future. So that way they can have the monopoly on fraud, essentially.
Right. So we got about another 10 minutes. Ignacio, you want to talk about the event that we collaborated with Carrier Tools on?
Yeah, for being the first one, I mean, it felt heavy, right? Because when you are trying to connect with other communities, it feels heavy because we haven't been very successful in the past. And to be able to have the Punjabi come and work with us, to have African American community work with us, to have the Spanish community uh, kind of throwing this event, and with you guys, the Anglos here supporting us from a distance, it was a complete success. We not only found other movements, other groups that are joining us, but the communities respected that. They were surprised and thanked us for it. The Flying J actually they used the red carpet for us because they love what we did, and they were engaging. As they said, you know what, I'm going to give you guys 10 free drinks with unlimited refills because it's hot out there, and they gave us a perfect spot right in front of pumps. So I think it was very successful. I want to ask you guys, as you guys were at the other end, I know we were trying to figure it out. What did you guys see? How did we do from your end? I know this is our first one, so we're kind of learning how to make it better. How did it look from your end?
I think you did a fantastic job, Ignacio. I mean, everything didn't work out perfect. I mean, we kind of had some issues with trying to make sure we could hear everybody. If we could have passed the mic a little bit better, we could have been a little bit better set up for it. But overall, I think some strengthening of the industry happened right there in Harupa Valley today. I honestly think it went really well, and we made some awesome connections, and we're able to bridge the understanding between all the different ethnicities in the industry. And it's only going to build from there. And I think, one of the great, bridges that we're able to use is, this highway matter. It's not just affecting any one ethnicity; it's affecting everybody. So it's really the perfect storm of something we can utilize to bring everybody together, and create one hell of a solution that's going to make an impact, and let the powers that be know we're not playing around anymore. We're done. We are healing our differences. We're putting our petty differences aside, and we're going to change our industry for the better. And, they're not going to get to have the power they think they do.
And I was actually shocked when we were interviewing him, and then Chris says, "Hey, I know that guy," and he worked with him, and they went to a few truck shows together. What are the odds of that? Having an event here in Cali and Chris home, and then you over here, like, is that gentleman the one that's been posting videos against highway? You identify that guy to the camera. Lots of that. So this is a very small world, and like you said, it's affecting every single one of us. So this is a big world getting together and uh, having one voice. Because, like you said, we're all being affected, and that's the message we need to deliver. They're not coming just they're not coming just for one community, one ethnicity. They're coming after all of us.
You guys can see I got mine up on the screen. Thanks for the support. Thanks for talking with the Ignacio today. No, thanks for everything that you've been doing for the trucking industry as well. I mean, you've been a big advocate of, in the industry, big supporter. I know we kind of had a falling out, but I still do consider you a brother of the highway. Just know that.
Wow, look at Tim watching it here. That's amazing. Thank you, Tim. It was amazing just to be able to see you. And Roadhammer, brother, we love you. You're a big piece of the industry as well. Everyone matters here, and everyone has a voice. And continue to engage. We're against a monster that is very very hard to defeat, and it can only be defeated together. We can't do it alone.
Absolutely. And to everybody who's listening, if you want to be able to participate more in our mission to help, bring the industry together, we've got a pretty big event coming up in Washington, D.C. for 10-4, which is going on September 30th through the 4th of October this year out in D.C. If you go to 104DC, spell it all out in letters, .org, you can get all the information. Our organization, American Transportation Co-op Incorporated, we have a booth already reserved. We, the truckers, are planning on being there. And, we're going to make a splash. If you've got something you want to promote as a solution to an issue in the industry, or you want to collaborate with us, you are welcome to use our booth. Come on down, come meet us. This is when our organization is going to go much more public and kind of come out of this this developmental phase. We are ready to break through on a mission to provide some real solutions to the industry, to come together to build infrastructure that supports the growth of the small carriers, small businesses in this industry, the company drivers in this industry, and that also provides and builds solutions towards educational infrastructure for this industry. So, when it comes together with it, like our affiliates over there at Carrier Tools, Look at what happens. So many people out there may believe that truck drivers are brainless robots operating these trucks. That's not true. A lot of us are very intelligent and understand exactly what this industry needs and build solutions. And look at like Carrier Tools today, their tool is free. It's funded by truckers for truckers, which means it's controlled by us and it's meant for us. And so, we want to make sure we give them an awesome shout out for collaborating with ATC, with Ignacio out there, our treasurer. And we look forward to meeting all of you, as many of you as possible, at 10-4 in DC. It's gonna be a splash. So that's my piece on it.
And I want to put my thoughts out on what I seen over at the event that Ignacio threw for us, and along with Carrier Tools. I seen the communities coming together, working together. Finally starting to invest into one another. That's what unity is. That's true unity. Okay, we can agree to disagree on certain issues, but still work together. Still come together and collaborate on different issues. We're not going to always agree. And something that I want to point out is you look at ATA, TIA, IANA, all these mega corporations, you don't think they're working together? Do you think that they don't have disagreements? But they still work together. That's exactly why the independents and the owner operators are losing, is because we're dividing ourselves. We want to fight against each other. We need to stop doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, absolutely. We need to learn to respect one another's opinions on things, and give each other the time and the time and place to explain why we see it the way we see it versus how somebody else sees it, and not completely disregard it. Again, how are we steering our industry? I want to bring this to a point. Like we said, we talked about the issue in the beginning of this live stream. Are we letting the progress of our industry be driven by a professional stance, a unified stance? Are we letting our ego and our pride and our anger progress the industry when in fact it won't? It will only cause further regression and division. And then who wins in that? The big guys that are already winning oh so much. So we have to decide for ourselves which is more important. Can we agree to disagree and move forward and learn from each other and work with each other to provide solutions to our everyday issues out there by doing our due diligence, our research, being educated, trying to do our best to be professional? Or are we just going to continue to let these situations get the best of us, which is how they're psychologically intended by those who are a lot of times putting that propaganda out there? They want us divided on everything. Yep. So what's the best way to rebel? Don't do what they want you to do. Understand the psychology behind what they're trying to do to us. And we have to reverse that.
Yep. Exactly what the American Transportation Co-op is actually, forming. And, along with our affiliates, Carrier Tools, we're working closely with SPTC, TMJ, James Lamb and Billy Randall, and so many others.
And you know what? I'm going to say something here. Thank you guys for the faith that you have deposited in me. Thank you, Jane, for believing in me, using me as a bridge to bring the communities together. Thanks to Chris that always embraced us, and Mitchell, Mike. It takes a man like you to open your arms and welcome us, just as we are welcoming you guys. It takes good heart. It takes goodwill. It takes true brotherhood to make things happen. So I owe this to you guys because uh, you guys believed in this movement. You guys believe that it can be done. And if it was not because of you guys that have a generous heart, this would not be possible. It's thanks to you guys that reinforced or reassured me that it is time to get together. It is time for us to use our gifts and talents to bring the unity back. So to me, I take those comments as a positive thing. I take it as a win for today. But thanks to you guys, I'm glad that Tim, for example, was able to be there from a distance. You guys were there in spirit and with your heart. So thank you guys. Thank you, because from a distance is because of you guys that these things are coming to pass.
Well, I appreciate that, Ignacio. Um, that's been my goal. It's been Mitchell's goal. It's been a lot of our goals to make this happen. Mike and Jane from We the Truckers. I mean, all of us. Vince, Sean, from Truckers Unite Now. I mean, all of us are coming together. Carrier Tools. What's Otis's app called again? Road Ready or something like that?
Yeah, he's got Road Ready Network. It's going to be, there's going to be some similarities with it, I believe, to Carrier Tools, but it'll have some differences. Then we're also going to be seeing the new 10.4 app coming out, which is going to be a truckers exclusive social media platform for truckers and trucking supporters. So we don't have all this rigmarole of these algorithmic rigmaroles of all these social media platforms that are inhibiting our communication with each other. We're going to see some pieces of infrastructure really start to come together, and all these things are in affiliation with American Transportation Co-op for a reason, because we have to have kind of a gathering house. We've got to have a way to organize these resources. And, we're seeing a lot of that come into play at We the Truckers. They're doing a lot of that stuff, and pooling that information. And there's going to be different things that you're going to see come into the wheelhouse of what really becomes this organization as we roll out our website and our different moving pieces. And it's all meant to create this systematic infrastructure that supports the carriers that they've never had before. So we mirror the efforts of of ATA, TIA, everything. They have an infrastructural network that's supporting them, but we don't have ours built yet. So that's where we make the stand to build ours in reflection to theirs. And instead of the top down, we build things here from the road up.
Yep.
So that's what we're all about. And it all starts with what? Your own participation. Like Ignacio said, you bring your skills to the table. Work with us. We figure out a place to fit you in. We don't have to compete with one another. We're going to have different options. You're going to have different people that have different services that may be similar, but do things a different way. That just gives drivers an option to what works best for their trucking scenario. Not always one tool fits all. And so we've got to have a toolbox to put everything into. And I believe a lot of that we're going to be doing at ATC here. And we're seeing a lot of that play out with We the Truckers. And, We the Truckers is kind of doing the more like the people involved and what they've done that kind of that documenting who is at play, and then we're kind of documenting the what is at play. It's kind of how I'm seeing it, and we're going to have to figure out, as we go forward, so we don't, we create a collaborative environment between those two different things going forward. But it's all about pooling that information, so that way new driver, old driver is coming at it needing the resources to further their situation in trucking. They know some trusted sources and voices and where they can go. And one thing that we the truckers, I can't say enough about, is they're doing an amazing job of making sure that the advocates that are out there for this industry have a voice, and that people have a place to go to know who's out there fighting for the industry. And helping establish those connections, helping bridge the gaps, helping create the collaborative environments, and getting people together. And can't say enough about how great of a job you guys are doing, and what you guys are doing, and what you guys have built. And all of our other affiliate partners and what they've built. And we just want to do what we can best to help further your collaborations, and create a more impactful environment with what we're doing at ATC.
So Tony's comment over on Facebook is up on the screen, and he's exactly right. I mean, it doesn't mean we can't still be, brothers. Tony, just so you know, I do still consider you a brother of the highway as well. Keep pushing forward. And, he's got another comment that I'm putting up right now. So he got approved from tel360.com with the low down payment. So best of luck to you with it. And let's start wrapping this up. We're a little bit over on time. Me and Mitch has a barbecue to actually go to. Any last thoughts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jane and I want to thank everybody, for supporting our website, and everything that you do, the ideas that you give us and everything, and other stuff, and promoting it and everything else. We appreciate that greatly. And our website is started out as one page, and I don't know, we're up to like 6 or 7 now, but it covers a lot of stuff, people. It's if you like to read, if you like music, we got all that in there. It's books, music that's written by truck drivers, and everything. And we got some other pages in there that you can interact with and stuff. And people write articles about different things that you can go listen to while you're driving. And we want the page to keep, we want our website to keep growing. We want more and more people to go to it, check it out, use it. It's information to use at your discretion. We're not telling you this is the people you need to follow, or this or that. It's your decision. And
Exactly.
one last thing, it doesn't matter what kind of truck you drive, what kind of trailer you pull behind that truck. Doesn't matter the color of your skin. Doesn't matter if you're male, female. We all need to go back to the old school days when everybody got along. We acted like professionals. We treated each other with respect. Because all this nonsense that goes on out here is ridiculous. I can't talk to you. You drive a Peterbilt, or you pull a reefer trailer. Who gives a shit? We're all truck drivers. We're all out here doing the same job. whether you haul heavy equipment or you haul groceries to Walmart or you're hauling lumber to the local lumber yard, whatever. We're all doing this together. We all need to learn how to get along. And just because you don't agree with what somebody says doesn't mean you act like a jackass and kick them to the curb and dismiss them. You act like a grown-up and you discuss this stuff and tell me why you feel this way or why you think this particular thing's going to work, instead of just saying, your shit ain't going to work, blah, 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 and it's not about me. We need strength in numbers in this industry. The more people we can get to come together, stand shoulder to shoulder, that's what it's going to take to get things done. 5, 6, 10, 20, 30 people can't do it. We have how many million CDL holders do we have in this country, Chris?
Over 4 million.
How many of them do you think are actively
4 million
on the road driving today?
active CDL holders. There's closer to 10 million actual CDLs issued.
And how many do you think are running up and down this highway every day?
Well, it's a little over 2 million registered trucks in America.
Okay, so there you go. There's 2 million trucks running up and down this highway. If we had 1 million drivers stand up shoulder to shoulder, do you realize how much we could get done and what we could do in our favor to help this industry, to stop all the corruption, stop all the bullshit, all
Absolutely.
the fraud, all this crap? Oh, we need this, we need that. No, you don't. You don't need this, you don't need that. But I don't know where all this happened, where the disconnect happened, but over time, the road, they switch from the left lane to the right lane, and oh, well, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. No, that's not the way it is. We need to fix this problem.
Right.
We're bringing back the brother and sisterhood of the highway back to life.
Yeah, and we're doing it in a new school way with old school values. And there's never been a better time, because look at all these resources being created. We, the truckers, what we're building at ATC, and none of it requires any membership dues either to participate. But it does require you to participate, to not acquiesce, to not stand by idle and just say, well, these guys are doing it, so I can just let them do it for me. No, your voice needs to be heard. Exactly. Your action matters. And as we take action together, all those little actions equal a tidal wave towards defeating the other side that is designing something to defeat us all, not just in trucking, but in a greater part of society.
Matthew, what's your last thoughts?
And then please wrap us up with a prayer.
Yep. Close us out with the prayer. We can't hear you.
Unmute your microphone, Ignacio.
Oh, thank you. Just like I told the brothers and sisters today that came out, I thank them deeply. And what I told the Punjabi community, one thing that I hate about truck drivers, owner operators, is they're just looking for the harvest, but not many are willing to go plant. I said, if you want to have a harvest, you better join in planting those seeds, because if there's no seeds planted, there's not going to be harvest for you. So to me, I believe we set the example today. We were under tremendous heat. We were under shade. We fought hundreds of people today. There was a major collaboration from a lot of people. A lot of people showed up, but the ones that didn't, the ones that are still doubting it, I remind them of that. You gotta put your boots on, you gotta strap them on, and you better march with us. Because if we don't do that, nothing's gonna happen. We've seen that the diners for decades. Truck drivers talking at the diners, and we came out. We did nothing against government, against corruption, against the elites, against corporations, and look where we at now. We're changing that now, putting our boots on, and we're speaking out in one voice. So thank you guys for that. And I'm gonna close out with a quick prayer. Uh, Father, today for blessing us with the provisions we have today. Thank you for making ways for us to be able to step into a perfect place to be grateful to our brothers and sisters behind the wheel. Today, Father, I hope you're we did today, hopefully leading us, thanking them for their hard work. We ask you to continue to guide us, give us the wisdom and discernment to do your will and not ours. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
I want to thank everybody for joining us, supporting us. And, we do these lives every Saturday. And I want to close us out with our co-op theme song music video. So I'm going to play that and then we're going to shut it down.
Long roads, late nights, engines run strong. Drivers out here carry the weight all alone. Builders in the street, mile by mile. Now it's time we redefine the road and the style. For too long, we stood alone. Now we're building something bigger than we've ever known. We don't roll on, we ride as one. American transportation, COB. The movement's begun. From the drivers to the brokers, from the shippers to the runs, we stand together now. We ride as one.
Carriers, builders, every link in the chain. Different roads, same road, all part of the same.
No more division, no more unknown. We're stronger together than we've ever been alone. This is more than a road, more than a run. This is the whole industry moving as one. We don't roll alone, we ride as one. American transportation, co-op. The movement's begun. From the drivers to the brokers, from the shippers to the runs, we stand together now.
We ride as one.
We don't roll alone, we ride as one. American transportation, co-op. The future's begun. Built by people across the industry. Second to none. We stand together now. We ride as one. We ride as one.
Everybody have a good night. Be safe out
Good
there.
night.
Thank you.